Hey, what's up? This isn't the Redeye, but we're on the Redeye's old time schedule. This is a stream about nothing. We're going to talk about nothing, and we know nothing. And it's awesome. So, Jensen Quinn, Loch Ness Monster, go.
Right. Weirdly enough, I can. Yes, I do believe it exists. Yes, I do believe it is a descendant of some of the old dinosaurs. And yes, one day I do actually plan to go up there and see it.
Nessie. So you believe in Nessie?
I believe in the possibility of Nessie, yes, i.e. a family of ancient creatures that have found somewhere up there that they're comfortable to live with. Hell, good luck to them.
To live and let live, right? But we can't have that with the penguins. The penguins are an issue, but that's not what we're talking about tonight. Once again, this isn't a stream about the Nazi penguins. This is a stream about nothing, and we're going to talk about nothing. So Nessie, man, they've dropped a lot of sensors. They've done drag nets and stuff, and they haven't found anything. What say you? Is it possible that a creature could actually avoid that?
Well, yes. Think about it. The ability of nature to adapt and change itself, basically to evolve, is really frigging impressive. And I don't actually see why not. I mean, we've got all these sensors and things. Think about it. At the sort of depths that some of these creatures like to go out, it's not like they've got light to do their thing. So their body could well have adapted some form of, and I'm going to use the term loosely here, but some form of stealth technology. I mean, at the end of the day, all it has to do is resist the radar sensors. So, you know, what if we literally have a stealth dinosaur?
Okay, all right. A stealth dinosaur. So, this guy is aerodynamic. He's got some fucking radar-resistant skin. What are we talking about here? I mean, I love the coast-to-coast AM type MO, man. I want to roll with it. But really, though, a sonar-resistant dinosaur. Elaborate, Jensen, because come on now.
Well, let's look at it this way, okay? Although we're joking about it having all of the baffles and panels and whatnot to make it a full stealth tech, what if literally the creature's skin just has some sort of material in it that actually does baffle the sonar? After all, it's not an impossibility. Unlikely, yes. But I'm not saying it's impossible. That's the important difference. Okay? And yes,
no, and what I do agree with you is okay, so Loch Ness, you know, the fucking lagoon, whatever you want to call it, the nest is really big. I mean, there is a possibility for a creature to hide in that environment, kind of like I was arguing last night about Bigfoot. It has a large area in the Pacific Northwest to actually hide in. That is true. But they have done not only the whole fish radar thingy, but they've dropped sonar buoys and stuff like that into Loch Ness, and they have not found anything. And there's no longer a real outlet into the sea. So where exactly would this creature hide?
Literally underwater caves. Because of the angle of cave, our sensors aren't able to get into them. I mean, please remember, we don't actually know what the creature looks like. We've got all these wonderful...
It looks like a long neck, right? Like it looks like oh man, I can't think of the name of the creature, but it's like not a mastodon or anything. That was like a giant elephant.
It's a plesiosaur.
Yeah.
That's I know the dinosaur, sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. That's what it looks like. And you know, it's a long neck in the water. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
how exactly would that hide? And does it need oxygen? Does it have gills? I don't think it has gills. I think it would need oxygen. It would have to come up to the surface like a whale. So, I mean, how exactly does it stay hidden? And yes, I know it hasn't necessarily stayed hidden.
Well, as for how does it stay hidden, strangely, that's the easiest of all of them. The underwater cave has an air pocket in it for it to actually do its, living in, if you want to consider that its lair. And before you say, well, it's going to run out of air, not really. You think how much of that area may well, and again, I'm no geologist, I'm not trying to claim that I know the answer to everything, but it's not unreasonable to think that it actually has its own layer with its own air supply in it.
Well, once again, the same thing they argued with me about Bigfoot. This thing would have to reproduce. So where are the baby Loch Ness monsters? Where are they hanging out, man?
Right, you're assuming that it's got a, how am I going to put this? A normal reproduction cycle. For all we know, it may take a couple of 100 years for its eggs to actually, crack open and have the kids. And before you think, well, yeah, but we've been looking for absolutely ages. Actually, no, at the end of the day, we've only had the sort of tech we've had to look for it for the past 50 years. So let's work on the theory that the eggs are in the lair under the lock in its own private little cave that we at this time haven't found, or if we have, the people that found it were eaten. Let's go for something simple. This is our
Yeah,
all.
but you're not saying a 50-year gestation period. There's no way you're saying that.
Why not? You're about to sit there and
50-year gestation period. Do you hear yourself? 50 years. No, I don't buy a gestation period that long. The egg would go fucking sour before it ever hatched at that point. So I don't necessarily buy that. I don't buy a 50-year gestation period.
Right, I can see where you are coming from, but can I point out, you are looking at this, and this can sound a bit like an insult, but I don't mean it that way. You're looking at it like a human. Stop looking at it as a human and start looking at it as nature. After all, nature can take as long as it damn well wants to do things. It has had however many millions upon millions of years to adapt to this kind of lifestyle. And this is assuming it didn't have this in the first place. We don't actually know how long the gestation period for one of these creatures is. And hello, other person.
No, and I was gonna lead into that. Hey, Farty, dude, you're an Australian. First off, do you believe in Nessie? Second, I know Nessie is Scottish. I know that, dude. I wasn't being dumb. But also, if the Loch Ness monster did exist, the gestation period for offspring couldn't be 50 years, right?
Well,
I mean, that is.
It's already come out. It's bullshit. It was made up by a doctor who made it basically out of some driftwood and shit. And they perpetuated the myth. But if you have a look at Loch Ness, Loch in Scottish means lake. Yeah, I am part Scottish as well, so you're in luck here. But it's a closed off sea. Oh, it's closed off water body from the ocean. So the whole idea that a plesiosaur, which is what they used to think it was, could actually get into Loch Ness is very, very far, a very far reach as it is. To say that one's lived millions of years after plesiosaurs have been extinct is an even further stretch. to think that one is asexual, that it could breed, is way more stretch. And you got to remember too that they actually did do some drag nets across Loch Ness with sonar equipment and stuff like that during the 80s and 90s, and found nothing. So just the time frames itself, it had to survive well beyond its extinction, its lifespan, well past extinction of all the other things. And then it had to become asexual and then breed. And just typically, a plesiosaur would have ate the fish life out of Loch Ness completely, so it'd starve itself to death in any case.
I completely agree. I'm just putting out.
Well, if one did exist,
there's some echo going on from somebody. I heard some echo there. Jensen, do you have headphones plugged in?
No, I do not. And unfortunately, my bloody computer, if I try and plug in anything, it will basically die. So,
okay, I think it's okay now. I don't hear any more echo. So, but no, the plesiosaur, I get that, but okay. Everybody thought the giant squid was a myth. All right, 40, and guess what? Giant squid exists, dude.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, the water is a big place.
Well, we're the giant squid, and even the was it megalodon? They've found a sea creature that lives well below anything that we've usually surveyed and mapped and all that kind of stuff, which looks like a gigantic shark, which they're calling the megalodon. But when you've got something that's so secluded and something can't get away from, can't really hide, and they literally did a dragnet across Loch Ness and they didn't find anything, one would suggest that, yeah, it's pretty conclusive. And even still too, since as I mentioned right at the beginning, the bloke who actually made up the bullshit story right from the beginning, the original photo and all that, he was a doctor from London, believe it was, and yeah, he came out and on his deathbed said, "Yep, it's bullshit."
Okay, well, I'll grant you what he did was bullshit, but he based that on a story that already existed, right? So, no, actually, I mean, just because he faked it, it's like the Bigfoot guy in the suit. All right, he might have faked it, but that doesn't mean Sasquatch wasn't a thing well before the white man ever entered the Pacific Northwest. So, I mean,
well, it is plausible. I mean, like, it's the same argument as the speed of light. I mean, like, we say that light speed is the fastest that anything can go, which is actually bullshit if you really do think about it. Of course, things can go faster than the speed of light. We just can't perceive it at the moment. We couldn't perceive the Higgs boson because we didn't have the way of detecting it until a few years ago with the Large Hadron Collider. Sure, we might find something that would suggest that there is a giant mammal humanoid type thing that did exist in some form or fashion, but to say that exists right now, I'm pretty sure we would have seen something.
My turn? Okay.
Yeah. I was going to say, Jensen, what say you?
Okay. Right. Mr. Whoever the actually fuck you are, because I don't actually know your name, but hi, I'm Jensen.
Just call me Farty.
Okay, Farty. This is going to be fun. So we've got an English and an Australian. Okay. Do you believe...
the Commonwealth is ganging up on the Yank.
Fuck that. You come back to the scene of the crime. No.
I ain't no damn Yank. This son of a bitch. No.
My relatives were soldiers on the ships, not the convicts.
Yeah, right. Liar.
I don't know. I can prove it.
No.
Right.
No, go ahead, Jensen.
Yeah. Seriously, do you actually believe in the paranormal?
I will say as much that I've seen some weird shit that I can't explain, but as far as it being ghosts and paranormal premonitions and EVPs and stuff like that, I'm not really willing to entertain that until it's proven.
Okay. That's your point.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of what I mean. Neil deGrasse Tyson said about UFOs. Okay, it's an unidentified flying object, but to make the leap that it's aliens is preposterous because you simply can't identify it. And I could say to someone who doesn't know anything about aircraft, what's that flying in the sky? And he might go, well, I can't identify that particular aeroplane, so it must be aliens, but it's an A380, an Airbus, you know?
Oh no, I completely agree with you there. I just needed to know that you're open-minded enough for the possibility of it.
Oh yeah, no, like I fully believe that aliens do exist, but to say that they've actually seen us, to say that they've got the technology to come as far as we are from them is a bit ludicrous, just by distance and time and trajectories and whatnot.
How many times did the kangaroo kick you in the head?
No, seriously, like no, like so we are like a million years from light speed at least, right? Now, light speed will only get us a certain distance, but like the nearest possible people that actually have enough technology to make it from, like with Star Wars, for example, they can get across the galaxy in minutes. To say that like a race exists that can do that, they are still so far away that like it'd be like random. They pick the right direction for a start. Because you got to remember, 1 degree here is fucking 5 billion light years, a million light years away. So, the difference between 1 degree is that far apart. To say that they've just happened to pick the right direction, they just happen to run into us.
No. Do you think that, or do you prescribe maybe to the zoo principle, to where they know we're here, right? Because we've been sending radio waves into the air, into the stratosphere, out into space, for as long as we've had radio signals.
Yep.
So yeah. So are we just out there on the wing of the Milky Way and the zoo principle? They're just
Well,
it's like a refuge, right? Leave those crazy humans alone, right? Just let them do what they're gonna do.
Yeah, possibly to some extent. Like to say that anybody out there hasn't heard our radio waves and all that kind of stuff is a bit okay, yeah. But you got to also remember too that our radio waves take several minutes to get to Jupiter and Saturn and stuff like that. They've still got to travel at the speed of radio waves, which is still the speed of sound. It's not the speed of light, so it's even slower than light speed. We can't communicate by light speed to the Explorer probes that are already out there. So those radio waves still have to get that far out, and it's going to take exponentially longer for those to get out there.
Okay, let me post this to you then. Since this is a stream about nothing, so we're gonna go whatever direction. What about the WOW signal? We got a signal. Yeah.
Yep, that's actually just been explained. I can't exactly remember what it was, but they did figure out what it was, and it's definitely not aliens.
Really? A pulsar or some bullshit? Because I don't necessarily buy that.
It's not a pulsar or anything like that. It's inside our galaxy, but I can't remember. Inside our solar system, but I can't exactly remember what they actually said it was. It's not natural. It's not man-made, or not conscious made. But yeah, it was basically an anomaly that registered certain megahertz higher in a band that typically only has a certain small amount of megahertz in it, if that makes sense.
Okay, while we're talking about space and things, you keep talking about light speed. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm fine with the concept of light speed. But I don't want to break this to you, but you're actually assuming they use light speed as a travel method. What if they fall to space?
Yeah, what about warp? Because theoretically, warp speed, Star Trek didn't fuck up there, guys. That's something that could exist. We can maybe warp time and space. Einstein left room for that, and we have expanded upon that with our current.
Do you not actually mean warping time space, not time and space, but time space, because that's different?
Well, what we're actually more specifically talking about is faster than light. Now, scientifically speaking, all scientists will say that there is no further speed than the speed of light, because we can't detect it, and they haven't found anything that moves faster than it.
Just so you know, my friend, Einstein didn't actually say that the speed of light is the fastest thing in the universe. he said that it's the fastest thing that we can gauge as speed. He
That's
actually
pretty
said
much
that
what I said.
space. He actually
Yeah, that's
said
pretty much
space
what I
is
said.
the fastest. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I said. But like, yeah, as I said, with science in general, like the general perspective of science is that light speed is the fastest speed that we know of at the moment. Of course, there is a faster speed. We just can't detect it, and just through economy of scale. There's a computer program out there that sort of like Kerbal Space Program, but it's slightly different. And I think it was Thunderfoot that actually did this. He actually sort of had the camera view go past the sun and then measured the time from the speed of light traveling to Earth. And well, we all know it's 8 minutes, or about 8 minutes from the sun to the Earth at light speed. To say that that cannot be beaten or even mastered or anything like that is absolutely fucking preposterous. We just simply can't do it at the moment. And scientists will only go about what they know at the moment. Theoretical scientists will go into warp and fold speeds and hyperdrive and like hyperspace and all that kind of stuff. But at this present moment, all the people who are saying this is scientifically blah blah will say that yep, light speed is the fastest speed that we know of at the moment until we can prove otherwise.
Well, I can actually say that there's actually another way of actually proving that light speed isn't the fastest. It's the fact that at this moment in time, the scientists, I can't remember the actual article, Chinese and Japanese scientists have actually already caused some molecules to actually be transferred from one area of China to another area of China, and it was done instantaneously. Now, that's actually what you would call, for Star Trek fans, a teleporter.
Yeah, transporter. So, I heard about that common sense guy. That shit blew my mind. I was like, yeah, here we go, Star Trek motherfucker. But anyway, continue. I just had to interrupt with that. Like, I did hear about that.
Yeah.
But well, that just proves the actual point, though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that just proves the point that it's a case that we can travel fast because it's an instantaneous speed.
Yeah, that also goes on what I was saying about the economy of scale. Like, you know, so you can perceive 8 minutes from the sun to the Earth. Of course, if you went faster, you can get under 8 minutes. Of course, no worries. Yeah, I'm absolutely saying that. Where scientists say is they're sort of trying to go, from one point of China to another. And if you go any faster than the speed of light, well, then shit, you have to be there before you have actually left, which is a load of shit. But if you expand it out from, say, the sun to Uranus, not saying your asshole, but like Uranus, it would take several minutes at the speed of light. But of course, if you go faster, it'll take less than several minutes. You see what I'm saying there?
Well, and how do you think necessarily if there was aliens? All right, let's say the Greys. Let's say the Greys. Okay, the Greys exist. We're just saying that for context. Yep. And they're able to warp time space, and that's how they travel.
We would never perceive it.
What do you mean we wouldn't perceive it? Elaborate on that.
Well, we don't have the machinery to perceive it. Like where they say, like, okay, with Admiral Holdo's fucking lesbian bullshit fucking mind fuck that she did that everyone's trying to say was a brilliant tactical maneuver by warping into the Supremacy. Like in reality, everyone's saying that, oh, we should never have seen that happen, or they would never have seen it coming because it happened at the speed of light, and light wouldn't actually hit that ship and then come bounce back off it and hit our eyes before it actually happened. It's really
so
weird.
like,
we're getting into astrophysics here, and I've lost my fucking mind doing this because I'm also working on nano atomic particles and shit at the same time. So try and expand your mind that way. But like, fuck, where were we?
No, but okay. So what you were saying, like, if the Enterprise went into warp, right?
Yep.
They're warping towards Earth from Mars.
Yep.
They go into warp and then they come out. They're going to disappear and reappear because they're folding time space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we would see. Right now, we can also detect different types of radiation and sort of other infrared types of light and all this kind of stuff. And there is the possibility that sometime in the future that we will have something that can detect something that we cannot actually see at the moment. Say like the shock wave from a supersonic fighter plane, right? The shock wave actually sort of comes off in a very distinct sort of pattern that you
and
can see.
It ripples through the air.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there is a spectrum that we probably haven't detected yet that we could probably see something moving faster than light that gives off a signal faster than light that we could see. So if like the question is like if something's at Mars moving at the speed of light, apparently we'd have 2 seconds, which from the website I'm quoting here, I think is a bit bullshit. So a YouTube video. So we'd have 2 seconds before it hit us. By the time we'd see it, it'd be 2 seconds before it actually hit us, which is bullshit because if they're flying faster than light, then it's the same thing with the sound. It'd already passed us by the time we'd actually see it. But there is some spectrum out there that we can't detect at the moment where it'd be sort of an energy build-up, a shock wave, a bow wave, or something like that in subspace that we might be able to detect something moving faster than the speed of light. That hasn't happened yet. So basically going back to the scientific side of it, because we can't detect that at the moment, we don't know how to and we don't know what to look for, the speed of light is still the fastest that we know of at this point in time. You can see why I'm going mad.
No, and that's a great point. You too, go ahead.
Okay, how about considering the and by the way, this actually ties, excuse me, this ties back into the Nessie and things like that. Have you considered the possibility simply of dimensional shifting? We're not talking traveling huge distances. We're literally talking traveling from one dimension to another, and scientists have already proved in theories that dimensions are possible. So that would explain why Nessie can't be found, because the little sod is traveling through for want of a better, a wormhole between its dimension and our dimension. Does a little bit of hunting here.
And Quinn, if you're going to have an interdimensional wormhole, for instance, in the middle of a lake, then the water would get drained away.
Nope. You're assuming it can only. You're assuming that the warp. Excuse me. I've literally only got up about half hour ago. Right.
Yeah, I've literally only got up 10 minutes ago.
Okay, so you understand why the brain's still a little bit foggy, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, no, not unreasonable. You are assuming that the wormhole will allow the water to pass through. Just a possibility, what if said water does actually pass through, but it only passes from dimension A, i.e. where Nessie comes from? I'm not going to try and come up with some technical term. I'm just going to call it dimension A for now. It's nice and easy. Which means the creatures in that dimension feasibly have found a way to actually tap into these wormholes. After all, to us, that's like, oh my God, that's amazing. To them, that might literally be walking. All of the rules that apply in our dimension may not, and I make the emphasis on the word may not actually work in their dimension. What if their creatures genetically have something in them that will allow them to use this wormhole, where over here we don't have that DNA marker, so we cannot travel through to their dimension? Quite feasibly,
you still have a problem though, Quinn. Even if you have the genetic markers that are there to cause wormholes and things like that, even if we feasibly agree that could actually happen, every time that a wormhole is open, gallons upon gallons of water, wherever that animal opens up its wormhole, would transfer through that wormhole. Because if an animal can transfer itself through it, then the molecules of water, which are less than the molecules of an animal, would be able to transfer through it.
I have an explanation.
Go for it.
Right. Well, there's a crab that can move actually underwater faster than the speed of sound. Its strike is actually faster than the speed of sound and actually boils water in front of it because of kinetic energy and friction and all that kind of stuff, which gives a kind of like a steam barrier. And the Russians are actually using a supersonic torpedo with a similar function by having this boiling air bow wave type deal. Now, the energy that you'd need to transfer between dimensions and stuff like that typically would mean that you're using a lot of heat and all this kind of stuff. And if an animal can do this by itself, then possibly what would happen is when it's about to do it, it could put a heat barrier around it, making a sort of like a steam bubble type thing around it, therefore putting a barrier between actual liquid water between it and its skin, and then it would only move into, you know, its other dimension, and then basically just cause a vacuum and a big bubble, sort of collapsing bubble type thing when it left.
Well, and I kind of want to wrap this back around and compare it to what about Peru and the random door right there on the side of the mountain, what they say might be a Stargate. I mean, so if you ever seen Stargate, all right, you know, they dial up another planet and it opens and it's one way. So even though you opened it, the people on the other side can't come through to you. That's why they have to dial home. You know what I mean? Home can't dial them. Yeah. So what about something like that in the lock down in the caves? You know what I mean? Or maybe even the Hollow Earth. Just throwing that out there for shits and giggles. But
well, one would think
cave entrance to the Hollow Earth, that would explain why Nessie disappears.
Well, one would think that if Nessie was something from a Stargate universe where they'd figured out what a Stargate is and all this kind of stuff, one would kind of think they'd give it some breathing apparatus so it can come on land and say hello.
Yeah. Yeah. Just quickly going back.
Oh, go on.
If I may, just quickly. Oh, okay. If I may, just quickly, obviously what the Australian guy just said about the kinetic barrier or the steam barrier that could be produced by the animal, it still doesn't stop the fact that we would still be able to measure a fair amount of water being taken away while that person was being done. The reason why I say that is because the kinetic barrier would only be around the actual animal itself. If the barrier's got to be open up, say, a foot in front of the the wormhole itself has to be opened up a foot in front of the animal. That's still a foot of water before the barrier is even going to get there, and it's still going to get sucked in.
Yeah.
How long is it open for afterwards?
I was thinking more like DeLorean making 88 miles per hour with the sparks and shit coming over the vehicle and around it itself, not actually having to like porthole run through type deal.
Fucking A, dude. No, and MC is in the chat. He's like, good grief. No, MC, we're just doing thought experiments, man. Like I said, this is a stream about nothing. We're just bullshitting, dude, and this is fun. I'm sorry, but Loch Ness Monster being a multi-dimensional fucking dinosaur is fucking great. Sorry, fuck you.
No, this is the whole thing about theoretical science, is that you bounce shit around and you bounce stuff off what you already know and try to make sense of shit you don't know.
Sounds like most scientists.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's exactly how science works. And the only difference between science and conspiracy theorists is that scientists actually admit when they're wrong.
Okay, that's good.
Well, the main difference is between scientists and conspiracy theories is scientists can actually prove their hypothesis, where conspiracy theorists can't actually prove the hypothesis properly.
Alex Jones is never
scientists
wrong.
can't prove.
He was right about those frogs, damn it. You guys laugh, but he was right. Those frogs are turning cake with the plastic. Like, that is a fact. God,
And the freaking frogs cake.
Damn right. No. Okay, so I brought up Peru, man. What do you think about the random just doorways carved into a stone mountain, man? Like, isn't that fucking weird to begin with? Even if it's not a trans-dimensional fucking doorway, right? Isn't that fucking weird? Why would you do that?
I don't know. Why would you build pyramids as a tomb? There's lots of shit that the human race
The
supposedly
pyramids
did
are
through
a tomb.
the idea of expressing
They're a power
themselves.
plant. They're a power plant for the aliens.
My guess would be either religious or cultural reasons.
Exactly.
But what do you mean? A giant doorway? That's come on now.
Well,
There has to be a purpose for that.
Well, why do they put Jesus on a cross in every friggin' church? What's the point of that?
It's
because he was
mythology.
crucified on a cross.
Yeah, one would think
Don't
if
get me
Jesus.
started on that. You can't do that.
But one would think if Jesus
Shut
did
up, Mole.
fucking return to us, he'd take one look at a church and go, "You're a bunch of cunts."
Right, exactly.
He doesn't know the
Man.
word cunt.
That
I
was
like
the
that,
most.
man.
That was the most traumatic day of my life, and that's the one thing you fucking took from that. You motherfuckers, fuck the lot of yous. You can all fuck off and die.
That's right. And he just walks across water to the nearest bar. Fucking A, dude.
I got a really cool book that has some theist arguments in it. The atheists can debunk. I just don't know what all of your affiliations are.
Atheist.
Okay, good. Matt,
I'm sure the
agnostic.
bosses are atheists too.
everybody here's
I'm
an atheist.
agnostic.
Agnostics.
I'm not
Close
agnostic.
enough, right? It's close enough for this work. I'm an agnostic atheist. I mean, I think it's pretty disingenuous for anybody to say they know for sure.
Well, I am an atheist, but I do believe Jesus was a real man. We covered that yesterday. So, but anyway.
Well, apparently
Moving
they
on.
can prove that, like, there was a person in Nazareth called Jesus, but all that shit about turning water into wine and making 2 fish and 1,500 pieces of bread and all this kind of shit's a lot of crap. But, however, the walking across water, I do know because we had a desalination plant at a beach called Bondi in Sydney, and it fucked up. And when the tides changed, the turds were so thick you could damn near walk on water. I reckon he went there.
Oh,
That's awesome.
I'm not sure that's awesome. That's going to stink, smell, especially in the Sydney sun, and just be really rancid.
Fuck it. The Jews went and fucking decided to populate bloody Bondi, so fuck them.
Fair enough.
They are all a bunch of cunts around Bondi. I don't know about where the rest of the world, but fucking yeah, if Hitler ever does fucking make a second coming, I'm sending him straight to Bondi.
And we've now gone to a white supremacy stream.
I'm not a white supremacist, dude. I just don't like.
I didn't say you were. No, I didn't say you were, my friend. I was just making a joke in general. I was just saying it's a white supremacist stream. Save it, Mad Dog. Save it.
You know that Hitler was in South America. Come on.
No, yeah, he did.
You know the thing about people calling people white supremacists is that they're confusing us not understanding their culture for racism. There's a cultural divide. Let's face it. I mean, I can't go to the inner city and hang out in the hood. I don't understand what's going on. It's a totally different world. It's foreign to me. There is definitely a cultural divide. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, okay, I understand that there's definitely a cultural divide, but if we're going to go down that sort of bit and actually say that people are actually calling white supremacists without actually understanding the premise of what they're actually saying, it's a case of hang on just a second. Okay. It's just a case of if you're going to say that Jews, and I know that this was said in jest, so that's why I said my bit in jest.
Right.
It's a case of if you're going to say that Jews are this and Hitler's going to do this, then the idea that white supremacy is to get rid of Jews is the fact that that's not a cultural divide, because the cultural divide is still white people, brown people, and every other people in the idea of the religion of Jewish people. Yeah. It's not a cultural divide.
I agree with you totally on that aspect, but I'm just saying the people that are making a big deal out of like I don't know how the UK is, but in America, you know, I mean, black people keep to themselves. They live in their own little neighborhoods, I guess, like kind of like your gypsies would, you know, and they don't really let you into their neighborhood, and it's more of a cultural prejudice thing from both sides, but they call it racism.
Wouldn't you say it's more of a tribalistic?
Oh, yeah, that's a really good word for it. That's a way better word for it. Much better.
I suppose we should go back to the actual stream that Mad Dodge was talking about. And to be honest, I think the actual door in Peru is to do with cultural symbology to go to their version of either heaven or the underworld.
Well, they had other ways to go about that. They had a deep cave and stuff like that. But no, I'm fine with
that's why I said heaven or hell. I didn't mean it. I don't know their culture well enough to decide between the two, but I assume a doorway would normally be a classification of going into a different dimension.
Or it could just be a Stargate. You know what I'm saying?
Or it could be just a door in some cunt's kitchen.
Yeah, or the more probable answer, it was a metaphorical doorway into the underworld, and that was the way they convened with their gods. Or
okay. Well, how did it open then? Because it's just in the side of a mountain.
What do you mean? How did it open?
What do you mean? Okay,
like,
so a lot of cultures with mythologies that go into the underworld, like let's say the Greeks, they had a cave or whatever that they thought went down to Hades. So even Christianity has stuff like that. So I mean, where did this doorway go if it's just in the carved inside of the fucking mountain?
I would compare it to like. I'm sorry, I would compare it to like the Granges in the UK. I can't remember the name of all of them, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like the burial mounds with the where, like on the summer solstice, it shines on only one certain spot of the, like I think is there one in Newcastle maybe, and there's a couple in Ireland.
We've got them all over the place. Trust me.
Yeah, they're mostly on ley lines. I can't remember what they're actually called.
I actually think that this proves. Yeah, I actually think that this proves time travel exists, because that'd be something I'd totally fucking do. If I got my hands on a time machine, I'm going back in time. I'm doing all this weird shit just to fuck with heads like people like you.
Yeah.
That poses a different question.
What is it with Aussies? My friend Grumpy Old Dave's the same way.
But that poses a question. That poses a very, very interesting question. If we believe in the idea of time travel, then we must believe in the ideas of parallel universes. Right. Does that mean that when you go back in time, that you're creating a parallel universe every time you go back?
Pretty much, yeah. That's causality.
I would say
that would be the
timeline.
Well, that would be the only way to get around the grandfather paradox. Yeah, I would say yes.
What is it with string theory? Don't they say like time travel is possible with like string theory or whatnot? I'm not.
I do know the grandfather theory. Like, if you go back and kill your own grandfather, how do you go back in time to begin with? Well, to have
paradoxes.
Yeah, but to have a side universe, where you cross timelines, that would answer that theory. Bam, I didn't kill my grandfather in my timeline. Therefore it doesn't matter.
Well, there's another theory about Back to the Future where, like in the first one, he goes back and he changes it, and then like Marty's family actually is successful and all this kind of stuff and all this. So what happened to the existence of the original reality? What happened to Marty's mother, father, brother, and sister? They just get blipped out of existence and all this kind of stuff. So as far as we know, and this goes back to the whole perceiving of shit. As far as we can perceive it, if we did go back in time and say kill Hitler, for example, drown him at birth, World War II wouldn't have happened, and we would be far worse off because jet technology wouldn't have advanced. We wouldn't have nuclear sciences. We wouldn't have rocketry. We wouldn't have the internet. We wouldn't have computers.
That's not where I would go. I would go back and conquer the Union. I would bring Robert E. Lee two-way radios. And
we knew this was going to happen, didn't we, Mad Dodge? The rise of the South. The rise of the South.
That's right. Two-way radios, lots of ammunition, and lots of M16s.
Well, that would actually mean that World War I would have gone differently completely, because World War I was the first time that like both sides had repeating rifles that were machine guns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that they went from trench warfare into a state where they shouldn't really be in trench warfare, and they needed self-loading rifles. They had a high-capacity magazine, so they could cover provide cover fire, walking fire.
Yeah, but the Americans would have never joined World War I if the South would have won.
Look back.
I doubt we would have been foreign interventionists.
Like the Crimean War or the Spanish-American War, we were still fighting in the Napoleonic way. We'd line up.
Yeah.
Shoot at each other. World War I mechanized everything.
Yep. Yeah, there would have been the advent of the tank way earlier. You probably would have flown during the
helicopter, probably.
Yep. Yeah, possibly an aircraft.
Who was the first inventor of the helicopter? Fokker, the first one that made one that actually worked.
Fokker made the first kind of helicopter, but it was Igor Sikorsky who actually made the first one that actually was like production that worked and was way better than like the conventional type that we know of.
Right, with the propeller on top and then the stabilizing propeller in the back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Igor Sikorsky.
Yeah, and that was what in the late 40s, early 50s.
About that, yeah, late 40s. I think it was 47. Yeah. I think he did it.
Yeah,
and that was also partly German tech that he sort of had an idea beforehand, but he sort of pinched the German tech to make things easy on himself.
Well, we're doing this thought experiment here. You know, it's a stream about nothing, and we're talking about time travel at this point. So I go back in time, right? I go back in 1861. I bring with me 100 sets of two-way radios. That way they don't have to stand in a line. They can move out, break up, and not catch the flak from the artillery. I bring M16s and I bring MREs. Meals ready to eat because the South was starved out. I bring food. I'm not dumb.
They would kill you, dude. They would kill you. Now look at this. Look at this way, Matt. If the South would have won, that would have changed the whole dynamic for the next 150 years. If the South would have won, yeah, that would have been horrible.
I don't think so.
I think without Western intervention in certain areas of the world would be a much worse place than it is today. I know that.
I disagree.
I know that people say, "Oh, Americans stick their nose in business they don't belong in." I know the British get involved in a lot of things. I mean, all our allies do. But I don't. I think that it's.
I vehemently disagree with you.
Let me tell you. Okay. Look, I know you understand. Like I tried to explain this to you yesterday. Muslims don't want to kill us because of a retaliation. They want to kill us because we're infidels. No matter what.
No, blowback is a thing. Blowback is real. It's a thing.
Blowback is real, but they want to kill us regardless.
Well, blowback just made things work. Like, okay,
I mentioned this. They're not going to come to Blue River, Oregon, or Eugene, Oregon, or Springfield, Oregon, or Portland, Oregon. They're not going to try and kill me, dude. They have no reason to come kill me, and they're not going to fucking do it.
They had no reason to bomb the Twin Towers either.
Yes, they did.
If one was near you, Mad Dodge, he fucking would. Just because you are you. Right? Now, there is a blowback part of it too, and the Yanks actually fucking made that worse by trying to fucking go in and sort shit out in Iraq the second time around. Yeah. And fucking that was like, yeah, one fighter had a family, and you shot the fighter, and then the family just goes, well, right, the Yanks are fuckwits, so we're going to go and fucking hate them now.
Right.
And that did perpetuate the enemy. But you don't need the radios and the MREs and all this kind of stuff. All you needed was modern tactics. Instead of just like marching line abreast and all this kind of shit, firing fucking in sequence, you needed, sections.
Yeah, but you have modern tactics because of two-way radios. You have modern tactics because you don't
actually need the radios. You don't actually need the radios. You can use field signals. You can have SMEACs. Yeah, SMEACs, field signals, prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. If you had your platoons and your sections, they know what they need to do. Well, then they can go off and just do their things autonomously and use your section commanders or your platoon commanders to do things without having to be commanded. So you don't actually need the radios. And then if you do need to communicate with somebody, you can use field signals. Hand signals.
40, you go back in time. Where would you go?
I'd go medieval England with. I'd go back to fucking. What's the Battle of the 300? Where the fuck that was?
Oh, the Battle of Thermopylae.
That's the one, Thermopylae. Yeah, I'd go back with fucking bloody heavy machine guns and fucking automatic grenade launchers and all sorts of shit, and I'd be sitting up there for about a week beforehand while all the fucking Muzzo cunts are down on the beach and the 300 behind me. I'd just be shelling the shit out of the bastards.
What? No, Farty, why do that, dude? Lay some mines. You can go a week before, right? Just lay
Oh,
a minefield right there.
Yeah,
They
I could rig up
with all their like 200,000 people, and they just hit a minefield.
Yeah, no. Even better, I'd rig up the biggest fucking daisy chain of fucking claymores you ever see, and 3 pumps on a fucking trigger, and you see cunts flying for buggery.
Okay, guys, I'm going to have to do this. Simply put, you've given us access to time travel. Why do people keep talking about going back in time? Go back. Go forward. Find out shit. Okay?
Do the Marty McFly thing.
Well, okay, Jensen, why would you go forward though? Because you're going to be a fish out of water at that point. You're the one that is at the disadvantage.
Actually,
when you
I
go
know where he's
backwards,
going.
you're the one in advantage.
The problem
I know where he's
with
going
in
with
the
this.
past is you have no idea what effects that's going to have on the future. You have no idea.
I totally agree. But here's the thing to remember, okay? Based on your idea of going back in time to make major changes using modern high-tech equipment,
Yeah.
you can have your M16 while I'm carrying a plasma-generated energy weapon.
Right, like a stormtrooper or some shit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, all right. We'll actually use technology that we know of via films and stuff. Can you imagine the change that would be made if we brought back one single turbo laser from Star Wars?
Hang on. I've got an even better thing right now. Yeah, this is a reason why we shouldn't go on this tack, because if I was ever having a time machine, I could go to any place in whatever reality and get whatever thing. I'd get the SDF-1 and I'd fucking vaporize this fucking rock. So we're all fucked. Don't get me started on that. I'm a kind of president that'll wake up one morning with the shits and scream for the fucking football.
Hey, since we're talking about time, have you guys ever really thought about the concept of the present? Is there ever really a present? Because
No.
as soon as it's the present, it's now the fucking past.
Yeah, that's where we were going on at the beginning of this discussion with like extending things out so you can perceive light speed and whatnot, and then going back into like sort of nano fucking particles and all this kind of stuff with the Higgs boson. You could argue as a scientific fact not stopping at a stop sign is still stopping at a stop sign, because what exact nanosecond are you talking about? And then femtoseconds and stuff like that.
Right.
And so if you really wanted to say at this point in time, okay, there's 60 seconds between this point in time and that point in time, I could have been stopped for 0.01 of a femtosecond. How the fuck are you going to measure that, smart ass?
At the end of the day, it's all perception.
That cop would bitch.
Use that in traffic court and see how that works for you.
It doesn't. But it's still a scientific premise, which basically means that the magistrate's just a fuckwit.
Right. Well, I'm not a big fan of lawyers or cops or judges anyway.
But you see, like they've got to rely on fucking science and all that kind of shit too. Like they do so with forensics and whatnot. But I could bring in 100 fucking scientists that say, okay, you need to pick a femtosecond that this guy was supposedly not stationary at, and we will say that yes, in that femtosecond he is fucking stationary. And then they'll just go, well, that's a shit house argument, and we just don't want to fucking entertain that thought. So go away.
Like I said,
yeah,
it's
I mean,
all about perception. That's
it's definitely all about. Go on, Quinn. I know you want to speak, so carry on.
It's cool. I'm just pointing out the fact that let's actually allow for time travel to exist. Okay? You can jump forward, you can jump back, whatever. The reason it's done is because some genius in the future has realised the complete bullseye we're going to make and has stopped us already. We are already living in a universe that has been altered from the basis of time travel.
Quinn, I don't know if you finished or if you haven't or that, but you need to sort out your microphone, my friend. It's not roboting; it's just fading in and out.
You're real hard to
kind
understand.
of getting every second word there.
Hey, you guys want to hear something I just thought of? Have you ever thought, you know, the sitcom Married with Children, the American sitcom?
Yeah.
And of course the BBC keeping up appearances.
Oh, you know what? I used to have a
Aren't they-
porno
they're like-
with fucking Cody
like-
Segal in it.
They're like the antithesis of each other. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
They're like total opposites of each other.
Oh no, it's the bucket lady. Oh good Christ.
I really enjoy British comedy because American comedy is just there's no thinking involved. It's just shock value. I like stuff that makes me think. That's ironic. That kind of.
Ever seen Jimmy Carr?
Jimmy Carr? No, I haven't. I'll have to check him out.
Fucking look him up.
I mean, but of course, I love the classes like Michael Palin, John Cleese, Terry Jones.
Yeah,
Ricky Gervais is good. Who's that tall, fat, bald, or that was a teacher? Greg Davies. He's pretty
Greg
funny.
Davies. Yeah,
he's pretty funny.
Yeah, no. Go look up fucking 8 out of 10 Cats or 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown or anything with fucking Jimmy Carr in it, man. You'll love it.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I'm a big fan of British programming compared to American programming.
Yeah, 8 out of 10 Cats is like a comedy quiz show.
You want to know a lot of the reason is because American programming, they make everybody look like they're fucking supermodels. I like British TV because it shows normal people.
Here's another
people.
Well,
if you like
another one you'd like. Yeah, here's another one you'd like. Fucking Mock the Week with Dara O'Brien. He's an Irishman.
Oh, you want to hear something funny? I watched Raz Nesbitt when I was younger, right? And the first time I ever seen Govan in real life, like a documentary or something about Govan, they were not bullshitting. That really is fucking like the ghetto of fucking. What is it? Glasgow? Is it Glasgow there, or they're a suburb of, or is it Edinburgh?
No, it's Glasgow.
Okay, that's what I thought. But it's legit, really, like a ghetto, isn't it?
Mm. That's why they have. That's why they have jokes like, "How does a woman in Glasgow get pregnant? She lays down in the gutter."
That's pretty good. No, but what show I did? Excuse me. What show I did like on BBC was Robin Hood, and it went 4 seasons, and then suddenly
is that because men were wearing tights?
Yeah, right.
Wearing tights.
They weren't wearing tights.
I like LOLO.
Men tights.
They were not wearing tights in the BBC production of Robin Hood.
Did you enjoy the Merry Men then?
You're a prick. It's your own country, you dick.
Yes, they were very merry men.
Hey,
they were very.
Were you one of the merry men, common sense guy? I might have appreciated it then. No.
Probably.
Do any of you guys like murder mysteries?
Oh, like Jack the Ripper? You mean common sense guy? Oh, sorry.
Like murder mysteries, like Father Brown or Midsummer Murders, stuff like that.
How much of our shit do you fucking watch?
A lot.
You watch more shit than I fucking do, and I live here.
Go watch Arsenic and Old Lace. That was a pretty
I already have.
Yeah.
Holy shit, Bull is ahead of you guys.
I also enjoy Dr. Blake. That's a pretty good Australian program.
He's a closet Commonwealth monkey. He is.
Is he?
Yeah. No, you.
Yeah, is he? Bull says.
Fucking, I think the mole went a bit too deep here.
Maybe I might be a bit of an Anglophile. I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
Anglophile.
Own it.
Hey, what is it with Yanks who can't say McPherson properly?
McPherson?
Yeah. Every time you reference a supermodel that we used to have out here called Elle McPherson, you guys say McPherson. It's McPherson, for fuck's sake.
No, not I. First,
I just watched that. I just watched that YouTube Red thing on the fucking that new version of fucking Karate Kid, and there was this. They referenced the Sports Illustrated fucking cover that she was on. I'm like, holy fuck, I remember that. Jeez, I feel old. And they go, hey, this one's got Elle McPherson in it. And it's like, it's McPherson, you fuckwit. God damn it.
It's just pronunciation differences.
Are we really going to be doing the American pronunciation thing? I mean, come on. We've got two English guys that are going to absolutely destroy the Americans with one word. Aluminium. Screw you.
Aluminium.
It's aluminum, you fucking cunt. Like,
Nope, it's aluminium.
Either
Read
works.
the word properly. Read the word properly. It's aluminium, not
no, it's
aluminum.
aluminum. It's
But-
aluminum.
You got to admit,
God,
Matt, that we ain't got shit when it comes to our curse words.
No, it's American.
So.
No, we speak American.
No,
And
I
they're
like
fucking
I like
around.
I like Brit curse words because they're a little bit more subtle, you know. I mean,
I
yeah,
like
they got
cunt. My
They got-
mom hates the word cunt too. Every time she hears me say it, I'm 33. She can't slap me anymore, but she cringes every time she hears me say the word cunt.
Americans hate the word cunt, dude. They hate it.
Here's something for the Yanks that I keep telling Gwendy is that you wonder why the nanny was so like the TV show The Nanny was so popular elsewhere other than fucking America is because of that part where she got thrown out on her fanny. And the rest of the Commonwealth will agree with me in this one because fanny.
You mean the American version of fanny, right?
No, the Commonwealth version of fanny, which means cunt.
Yeah,
she
I
was
know what it
thrown out
means.
on her cunt. So that was fucking hilarious. That was on every night. She was out on her fanny.
Oh, dear.
You guys are horrible.
So go around
Horrible
calling people fannies, and then they say, "Yeah, but that's the Aussie version." You cunt. See, now that's another thing too. You see, cunt in Australia doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. We call our mates cunts. Like, hey, cunt, what's the fuck? Who's the cunt who done this? Like, some cunt done this, that, and the other.
It's a multi-purpose word. It could be like jerk or dude or what. It mean whatever, you know.
Oh,
And we're
my
also
God.
racist as fuck too, because there's that little Asian bloke, some dumb cunt. Fucking some dumb cunt went and broke that. Some dumb cunt pinched me smoke. Some dumb cunt drove me car into a fucking wall. Some dumb fuck is his brother.
Yeah, that happens a lot in Australia.
Oh, no.
Some dumb.
That happens a lot in Australia. They drink.
Yeah, I heard
No,
you have a problem with some dumb cunt Africans at the moment. You know.
Oh yeah, that's in Melbourne. That's their fucking fuck them dumb shits. They fucking got what they deserved. They made their bed. They can fucking lie in the wet spot. Those are the dumb shits down there that fucking wanted all this fucking multiculturalism, immigration bullshit, and they fucking thought that they could bring cunts from fucking war zones and have them integrate to our non-war zone type fucking world, and didn't bother even trying to train these fuckers. Just leave them in Melbourne, let them congregate in their own groups, and let them perpetuate their own bullshit. Don't send them out the back of fucking buggery somewhere where they can fucking learn our culture and then be allowed to move into the city. Nah. And then when fucking immigration comes through and tries to boot a bunch of these fucking assholes, you got all these poof the fuck with faggot fuck uni student fairy pinko motherfuckers trying to stop the immigration from booting these illegals out. And now these cunts are running around in fucking groups trying to do their Algerian, Nigerian, fucking bloody Ugandan bullshit in the suburbs of fucking Melbourne, and no one's allowed to say fucking shit because that's fucking racist.
They're not even trying to assimilate at all, then.
No, and you're not even allowed to point it
amazing.
out because that's fucking racist. You can't say, oh no, there's 50 fucking black fellas down the road doing something fucking nasty. No, they're not abos, they're fucking African cunts. And they're fucking stabbing the shit out of this bastard, but you can't even call them black fellas because, oh, that's even fucking racist. They're people of maybe African persuasion.
Oh, fuck.
No, there's fucking gangs of fucking cunts from Chad, from fucking Algeria, Nigeria, you fucking name it. There's cunts and fucking gangs out there, and they're fucking doing the same shit there. And when we start lopping off fucking babies' arms to fucking influence political fucking power, then they might fucking realise that, hey, hang on a minute, this might have been a bad idea. That's why they sent fucking executive outcomes into Sierra Leone to stop that shit.
Right.
But we're not going to bring
What about the fact
mercenaries
that
in
Australia
here.
won't take any white? What about the white Johannesburg people at this moment in time because they're white?
We're trying to save them.
Yeah, but it's not going very well because all the racist people are not letting you bring them in because they're white. Because that means that they're going to implement the white.
We're bringing them in, but because they're fucking immigrants, we're probably going to chuck them in fucking Melbourne right next to all the fucking other Africans who are trying to kill all the white cunts anyways. They're just going to go, oh, shit. No, seriously. In Sydney, right, we had a whole bunch of cunts from, fucking can't remember where it was, but it was north eastern fucking Africa. I can't remember exactly where the place was, but there's a place in Sydney called Blacktown, and no shit, they all congregated there. And I jokingly said one day that fucking, what's the bet? They all got off the plane, they looked at a map and they went, Blacktown. Oh, fuck, this cunt's got fucking segregation too. Shit, well, that must move there then. Fucking, I was only joking when I said that, but it also almost seems true.
Yeah, it was a little passive aggressive, but I like that. I like that. Now, in the UK, you guys have very stringent immigration policies, correct?
No, they don't.
Fuck yeah. But explain the muzzos.
If you're a rape gang, you're good. But if you're a fucking white Anglo-Saxon from American, fuck you. Like I'm trying to move over to. No, I'm not. But if I was trying to move over to hang out with Cabbage or Voice, maybe I want to chill with my gay lover here, Common Sense guy.
I love you, baby. I love you.
I'm going to try to go to Germany next year and see my family. I'm terrified because I'm afraid I'll get raped by a Muslim.
Nah, you're not pretty enough. You'll be fine.
No, I'm not at all. I'm 40 years old. I have a dad.
Come to Oregon, you're safer.
Yeah,
come to Oregon, you're safer.
But I do want to go see my family in Germany, though. You know, I haven't seen them.
Yeah, Dodge, your problem would be like Lauren Southern. You'd have fucking pamphlets in your bag trying to fucking bring up an uprising to fucking take down the Queen. That's where they'd boot you out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Allah is gay. Allah is gay.
Leave the pamphlets at home, you'll be okay.
Man, I'm flying this Confederate flag, and I can't leave until I become a libertarian Southern lover.
No, well, dude, my Confederate flag.
I'm already loving a Southern lover. Does that count?
Hey, man, taxes aren't stealing.
Yes, they are. Taxation is theft, you cunt. Don't fuck with me.
Okay, we elect representatives who represent us.
Bull, are we really doing this right now?
We give them due power to.
I think it's time to leave.
For this.
all right. I won't explain it to you again. I know you know how it works. You just want to say it.
It is theft, but anyway,
it's theft that pays for our roads and everything else.
Roads. Fuck yourself.
You and your roads. My roads.
My roads.
Yeah. Go fuck yourself.
I love you, dude. Like we are so different in some ways. My God.
Really, how many potholes are in the roads? Go outside, walk out to your fucking road, and count the potholes.
I'll give that a miss. I'll be there a while.
Oh, talk about pot. I was at the gas station the other day, right? And this
talk about pot.
It's funny. This black chick was in front of me buying a blunt, and like I tapped her on the shoulder, and she looked at me all crazy on me, and I pointed down, and she ignored me at first, but her bag had fell out, and I was trying to let her know before anybody else seen it. I should have just let the bitch walk off.
Bull, you should have took that shit.
I was trying to be nice. I'd be pissed if I was buying a blunt and I knew I was gonna get stoned. I got home, my week was gone. I would be fucking furious.
So what? I would have took that shit quick as.
I don't know. That's just not right, man.
Yeah, but just on the potholes thing, you know, they've opened the DeLorean factories again, and they're fucking making DeLoreans, and this is past 2015. So buy one of those fuckers, and you don't need roads.
Is there still a guy in the UK drawing penises around the potholes?
That's
I imagine there is. I imagine there is, yeah. No. There's a guy going around drawing penises to make it obscene, so that they actually have to fill it in because it's drawing attention to it.
That's actually works. Brilliant, man.
Are they still hanging? Brilliant. Are they still hanging old tires or fucking speed cameras and setting them on fire to fuck them up?
In some places.
In his neighborhood, maybe. Or Quinn's. I'm sure that's Quinn's job. Common Sense guy draws the penises. Quinn has the flamethrowers. I already know how this one boils down.
He got it from the Boring Company.
Quinn, the token sociopath.
Well, he's not token. Well, we have him on for his unique views. He's definitely not token.
I love Jensen. He's a good dude.
Thank you.
Even if he is a ginger.
Wait.
Well, yeah, he is.
My son is too.
Sorry.
My girlfriend doesn't see the humor when I tell him I'm gonna beat him like your redhead stepchild. She does not find that funny at all.
It's hilarious.
I know, but he literally is my redhead stepchild. So I mean, yeah. She don't think it's that funny. He's my real son. I've raised him since he was a baby. But dad, he got her knocked up and he split. Like, so I've literally raised him since he was a baby. So I'm his daddy. So I mean, I mean, you know, I don't. The guys that have like a girlfriend with like 14 different babies from 12 different guys and one guy's raising them, that's a different story. But a woman with one child, I mean, and you helped raise them, I just feel a little different about that.
No, it's even worse when they got 14 different kids from 23 different dads.
Oh,
that's as far as I can narrow it down.
I don't know if the UK is like that, but welcome, or Australia, but welcome to fucking America, dude.
Oh yeah, no, we've even got a place in Sydney called Mount Druitt where fucking it's like, what's the definition of a virgin? A 16-year-old that can run faster than her father. Fucking
oh my God,
what's the definition of Father's Day? Well, what's the definition of confusion? Father's Day in Mount Druitt.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we got those places.
All right, so I just want to know, how hard is it to beat the shit out of a kangaroo? All right, I mean, those fuckers
kick your ass.
That all depends.
Around and shit.
That
They're
all
strong
depends.
as fuck, dude.
Have you shot the fucker first, or are you going to sucker punch the bastard? Because if you go straight up to it, it'll probably kick the shit out of you.
Yeah, if you just
you're
square
gonna
up
sucker punch the bastard. You're gonna walk up and just fucking bam, fuck you, motherfucker.
I can't condone anybody punching a kangaroo. I love him.
Here's two quick funny stories from my time out at the School of Land Warfare out at fucking Singleton. The rifle range, you're not supposed to shoot at the kangaroos, but they're all fucking jumping past the butts when you're fucking shooting, and of course a few of them fall down while you're doing it. Oh, sorry, must have been a ricochet, sir. But my M79 course, 40 millimeter grenade course, right? Had an old Vietnam vet teaching us, and he's like, okay, here's your forward sight and your rear sight. Your rear sight's got this baffles and your ranges and shit, and he's flicked it down. He's got, but you don't bother with that shit in the real world, so you just do what's called a snapshot, and he's flicked off the safety, put it up sideways to his shoulder. Fuck.
Are you talking iron sights and no scope?
And you hit a fucking kangaroo.
No iron sights, no scope, just up to your shoulder, eyeball it, bang. And then he's gone,
hit a kangaroo, right?
Yeah.
Hey, have you guys
looked over, and no shit, it fucking landed right next to a kangaroo, blew off half a leg, fucking his guts are hanging out, arms gone, fucking head's sort of hanging a bit, and it's fucking wobbling about a bit, and it's balancing on one leg and its tail, and the fucking instructor instantly is going, shit, he's opened the breech, flicked out the old shell, put in a new shell, clicked off the safety, fucking shoulder fired, but he snapshotted off another one. The fucker's heard the second round coming, and it's tried to jump, and the second round just went and turned it into a splat.
That makes me curious. What do people in Australia hunt as a rule?
Rabbits, cane toads, kangaroos, fucking
Because in America, we'll shoot anything pretty much, literally anything in America.
I would have shot that kangaroo right between the fucking eyes. Fuck that.
You don't have to worry about black people shooting anybody except for innocent bystanders because they don't know how to aim a gun.
Wild boar is another one, but wild boar, this is the argument for fucking self-loading rifles and stuff like that.
Wild boar, some motherfuckers will fuck you up.
Yeah, those things are damn near bloody bulletproof. I've seen one of those things take a couple of 7.62 millimeter rounds and fucking keep going.
They're like on PCP or some shit.
Oh, they're just pissed off. You fucking hurt them. They want their pound of flesh before they fucking die. They don't care how long it takes.
What about the UK? What's the most popular things to hunt in the UK?
Muslims.
What? Fox? Yeah, Muslims. They ain't shit, dude.
Isn't Fox
they killed everything. You guys killed everything over there in the
They
UK.
did not kill everything.
They pretty much.
They still have deer and shit over there, you dummy.
I'm a dummy? How much deer do you have, Quinn?
Well, first off, if we're going to start talking about deer, are we going to talk about zombie deer?
Yes.
Okay. That makes me feel better. And I called you dummy because that's the least offensive word I know.
Oh,
yeah, I would have said
cunt. I would have went with cunt. Yeah, that's what I would have went.
All right, or twat. How about that?
No,
He's not a pregnant fish.
You call me a
He's not a
twat, I'll be
pregnant fish.
offended.
And it's twat. It's twat, you bunch of twats. Fucking hell, you can't say McPherson, you can't say twat. Jesus
literally
Christ.
in America, they will shoot anything. Anything.
Especially moles. Keep that in mind.
No, thankfully, moles are killed a lot because we're pests, but we're not hunting.
This is what I don't get. Yeah, this is what I don't get about you Yanks, is that you need your guns for protection. Every fucking thing out here wants to kill us, and we're perfectly fine without fucking guns.
Right. I can't.
What guns? You handed them all in, Farty. Come on now.
I can't hold
That's what I just said. So. We're perfectly fine without them, and everything out here wants to kill us. So what the fuck do you need to defend yourself?
Yeah, but you're talking about like spiders and fucking kangaroos, man.
All right.
You already said you blow them up with a fucking RPG.
You're golden. Snakes and shit.
Do you want to know what animal actually kills the most people in Australia?
Dingoes.
No. Horses.
Dingo ate my baby.
I was going to ask him to say that, but I figured it'd sound racist.
Dingo took my baby. Yeah, no, it's actually horses. Horses kill more people in Australia than any other fucking venomous snake or spider or anything like that.
Like equine horses?
Yep, because cunts fall off them. And there's no anti-venin for a horse fall.
Thankfully, I'm allergic to them. So I would have made a horrible... can you imagine me living in the Victorian age and being allergic to horses? The fuck would I have done? Rode a bike everywhere?
Horse riding
you would have been the dumb cunt on a bike. I would have fucking dueled
I would have probably just been...
that's the British to do. That just asked Rick Mail.
I'd have been in a cheap gin joint somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would have kicked your ass. God damn it. No, but really though, like you guys handed your guns in and shit. How is violence going on in Australia after the gun
crime has skyrocketed? So is knife crime. The only cunts that have got guns are the fucking criminals, and they're shooting themselves on a nightly basis. Before we handed in all the guns, we probably had one person shoot someone once a month.
Yeah. That's what I thought too. I was hoping you would say that. I didn't know which way you were going to go, though, Farty.
Well, no, in Queensland about 2 months ago, they had, nationally, we had this big gun buyback thing where you could just walk in with a gun, no questions asked, and that was that. And about 3 days after that ended in Queensland, they raided a property and found about 300 fucking guns, including a boy's anti-tank rifle.
Fuck. Holy shit.
Yeah, I can absolutely tell you how that happened, right? Because, the first gun buyback, my dad had heaps of guns, and there was 27 of them after he passed away that the cops didn't know about that we handed in. We had to because they knew about some of them. The idiot brother went and fucking handed in all of them. But what happened there is after the last gun buyback, you had, your grandfather Carkett, and he had a fucking Bren gun and a fucking M60 and an SLR and fucking whole bunch of shit sitting up in the fucking ceiling. Well, they've gone up there and they've seen shit. We've got fucking half the world's fucking arsenal in our roof. Shit, we're not telling no cunt about this. And then some idiot goes and says, "Aha, I know where I can find a machine guns up in the roof," and then that gets stolen, and there you got a machine gun on the streets and all this kind of stuff. But the second gun buyback was all of those guns. Now you've still got 90-year-old World War I or World War II fucking veterans that still have fucking shit they pinched off the Japanese and the Germans and stuff still sitting up in their roof. Now this gun buyback is over. Those guns are still there. So fucking there is going to be another gun buyback, and there's still going to be a shit ton of rifles and shit handed in. But they didn't do anything to actually ban it. You can still get a firearms license. You can still go and buy a fucking rifle and all this. They've made it ridiculously expensive to do so, but you can still do it. Yeah, but then there's also too a thing about this mosque in Auburn, and for the last 30-odd fucking years, it's been a rumor that they've got fucking all sorts of shit buried in the walls of that thing, and that's a very popular mosque. They actually have to shut down the entire block for that thing some days. And it's only going to be a matter of time when all of those fuckers start digging in the walls and bringing out AK-47s and shit, and we're all fucked.
I would absolutely, completely agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that even in our country, they're using machetes and things like that to fight their fucking territorial fucking wars at the minute. And it's just a case of that's where they store all their weapons, where they go to meet and plan where they're going to go and have their territorial wars and shit. So I completely agree with you on that fucking instance.
Yeah, and of course, us infidels can't go in and listen in on their plans and shit like that because that's disrespectful to their culture and shit. Fuck their culture.
Yeah, apparently.
They're here.
Apparently
They can fucking have our culture. They don't like it. They can fuck off back to a place where they can have their culture. Oh, that's right. They don't like those places because they're not in power there. But they're not
And
in power
they're
here,
actually
but they're
oppressed and
trying
have
to
their
be.
arms cut off
Yeah.
for being cunts.
Or the CIA might find them out, or the MI5, or ASIS, or fucking stuff like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
but what about? Well, don't you think then the whole gun buyback program is bullshit to begin with? And if people are just, yeah, and if you do have people just hoarding old weapons, those weapons are still usable, right? I mean, so
well, all it really did was took legal guns off honest gun owners. Everybody who is dishonest about holding a firearm will still have those firearms. My dad had 27 of them to prove that fucking fact.
Criminals will be criminals no matter what the law is.
The funniest part about it, though, is that Dad handed in a semi-automatic 22 caliber rifle, which was, I wish he didn't, because it had a boss on the end and a silencer you could fit on it, and you fire subsonic rounds through that thing. You only heard the action going. Not a problem. He sold that one. He gave that in the buyback scheme, and he got $700 for it, and then went and bought a Norinco 22 Magnum. So he went and bought an even more powerful rifle with it, with a scope and everything.
Your dad's awesome.
Yeah, so much for that idea.
Well, no, they showed in Baltimore they did a gun buyback, and dudes were making their own fucking zip guns, you know, classic single shot guns and shotguns with just a tube and a firing mechanism. And they turned that in and got like $200 or $300. I mean, it's
that's
not
the
doing
no
anything.
questions
Really.
asked. Yeah, that's the point of it. No questions asked. So a criminal can give in a weapon that he's used to murder 15 fucking people, and it's supposedly no questions asked.
Yeah, that's what makes no fucking sense of that sort of scheme whatsoever. The fact that the guns that have been handed in will not be testified or checked or anything. Which means if you got a gun buyback scheme, it's a case of, okay, well, I'm going to go kill 15 people. I'm going to put my gun in that buyback scheme, and guess what? You've got no murder weapon, so guess what? I didn't do fuck all.
Exactly. Oh, here's another classic little bit from our buyback thing we had recently. About 3 weeks after the Victorians, the state south of me, in New South Wales, the Victorians, they fucking clean theirs up. Turns out one of the blokes it was a civilian contractor that was contracted to destroy some of these guns had actually been taking some of them home.
Smart guy.
Me.
That was you, Quinn, huh?
Well, this is another thing too. This is another thing about the Victorian police as well. There was the conspiracy theory rumor thingy-doodle about the AR-15 that Martin Bryant used at the fucking Port Arthur massacre, the one that actually started this whole fucking gun ban bullshit in Australia in the first place. Apparently, the Victorian police had seized it, had put it in for destruction, but somehow went missing, ended up in Port Arthur. So we can't even trust the fucking cops with guns.
Well, that's the thing that I'm sorry, man. Just quickly, that's the thing that I really hate about the left. To the point where they're going to say, "Oh, well, let's ban all guns." Okay, well, let's go with that premise. Let's ban all guns. Criminals are still going to have guns, so we need police to go in to be able to protect us. Okay, did the police go in, for instance, on the Parkland shooting? No. Were the police able to stop the actual shooter from shooting 58 people, 57 people in fucking Las Vegas? No. They had to eventually get there. So, no, it doesn't work that way.
And
having the police actually do something doesn't do anything.
Well, my argument with automatic rifles and semi-autos and shit like that was that, okay, Port Arthur, the bloke used a fucking an automatic rifle, right? But he had it on semi, and he was taking single, well-aimed shots. Now, I'd absolutely put it to you as someone who could do a mad minute with a 303 Lee Enfield. If I was anywhere within a kilometre of that fucker with a 303 Lee Enfield, I'd take him out with either 2 shots or maybe 1, depending on the wind. Now, that's a World War II bolt-action rifle with a 10-round magazine. I probably maybe only used 2 rounds out of that. So what's the whole bullshit with this fucking, semi-automatic rifles are fucking, automatic rifles are more lethal? Well, if you go and ask any sniper, they'd fucking say that the bolt-action rifle is more of a preference because there's a lot less action maneuvering and all this kind of shit doesn't throw your shot as much and you get a truer aim.
Yeah, my dad went he joined the Army in 1960, and that's what they gave him in basic was an M1 Enfield, and he loved it. I mean, when he went to Vietnam, and they gave him what was the M14 at first. They gave him. He said it was junk. He said fucking it would jam in minutes if you got any dirt in it. The humidity fucked it all up. So most guys would fucking if they could find like an AK-47, they would pick that up because M14 was useless. They would have been better off with an M1. Literally better off with an M1.
Well, the Australian Army right up to the 90s, we had the FNFAL, or the Australian version, which was the SLR L1A1, exactly the same rifle, 7.62 millimeter, but we had ours capped off at semi-automatic. It could never go auto unless we had the L1A2, which I did for a little bit. But the whole point there was you only need 1 round to kill someone with a bullet that big. Fucking what do you need to spray it? And that was actually the biggest downfall with the M14 was it was a cunt to use in automatic, but it did its job for what it was asked of.
Well, there's a quick lull.
I think semi-automatic 3-round bursts are more accurate than a fully auto would ever be.
Yes.
Well, obviously they are, because the kick is less because you're not really going rapid fire. But is that the same thing as the Springfield? Is what I'm wondering. The M1
and was a 30-06, whereas the 7.62 is a 308. It's slightly different size in the cartridge, but pretty much the same projectile.
Well, there's a quick lull. I'm just going to say bye to everyone because I've got shit to do, unfortunately. So I'll see you all again soon. Thank you very much for letting me come on.
Toodle pip.
Cheers. Bye.
Good one, man.
Right. For one, 762 is actually the superior bullet. Period. Just end of conversation. The problem was we all went to the 5.56 NATO standard, and that was not a good idea.
That's correct.
It has no stopping power.
Agreed. At the end of the day,
it's stopping power.
It's too fast. If you have over penetration, obviously the projectile still has enough energy in it, and you can have a look at it with, say, the 45 caliber round. A 45 ACP is a very slow moving round, but it's a giant chunk of bullet. And if you can get that thing to stop, well, then you've got all its kinetic energy hitting the body and causing the most amount of damage. The 7.62, like going back to what Dodge asked, the 30-06 was a larger casing, which meant it had inherently more power behind it. So you had controllability issues and all this kind of stuff. The 7.62 or the 308 round was a smaller cartridge, not so much an intermediate cartridge, but it had the same basic projectile. So you were able to.
I have some 308 rounds, man, for dropping elk, and they're pretty.
Didn't they switch from 7.62 to the other one because of 7.62 has a tendency to go through the target and continue going?
Not necessarily.
No.
The benefit with the 7.62 is you have some semi-armor piercing capabilities, so you did still want that penetration. Like the way I used to describe it was if you were sitting behind a tree, I could just shoot through the tree, still hit you, and then still hit the guy behind you. But this was also a doctrine back in the 50s where they were thinking of large forces of Russians moving across open fields. So if you did have over penetration, you'd probably hit a guy behind you. Now, with the 5.56, it was more quantity versus quality type deal. Yeah, you can carry twice as many rounds, so you can have an automatic weapon and all this kind of stuff. And
fire twice as many rounds as well. So
and it was also more controllable, so therefore more inherently accurate. But the actual projectile, because it was flying very much faster than a 7.62, would actually over penetrate your target. But that's still that does have a bit of armor penetrating capabilities, but the projectile is just a bit too small to do so in a fashion similar to 7.62.
Do you have any idea the grain difference between them two shells?
They vary because there were a few different ones. Like the 5.56 I used to be familiar with was the SS 109 round. Now they're in the XM8 something blah, blah, blah round, which is a bit more formulated for combat kind of thing. The SS 109 round is the famous round we used to hear from Vietnam veterans. They put 20 rounds in a bloke and he'd still be running towards you.
Wow.
That one also created a lot of fouling and jamming and stuff like that, and especially when you put it through the F88 Ostar or the Star Orb.
Was it from lack of power, or was the projectile
it's just the type of powder that they used and the burn rate and all that kind of stuff. Initially, the 5.56 round that they put through the armor lights and the original M16 AR-15 types, it wasn't the stuff that the rifle was actually designed for. It was designed to burn at a certain speed, so to work with the timing of the extraction process and all that. But they decided to go through, I think it was for a faster burning powder, which meant that the action was working too fast. When the casing was expanded in the chamber, the action was trying to pull it out, and it wouldn't move because it hadn't gone through its high pressure phase and then started losing pressure and contracting again, so you could pull it out. That was the main problems with the M16. First off, there were cleaning issues as well. They said it was a space age rifle, you never have to clean it, but yeah, to the stage where they didn't even bother issuing clean kits in some stages.
Do you guys think that if modern soldiers had to fight like people did 500 years ago, they'd think twice about going up? And I mean, there's a big difference between shooting someone you can't see to fucking looking someone in the eye and fucking chopping their head off. Yeah, a huge difference. I mean, do you think that they would be able to do it?
Yeah, because bayonet training is still a thing.
Yeah, it's true. You are trained to kill, I suppose.
And Goose Green, I think it was Goose Green in 1983 in the Falklands was the last time the order was given to fix bayonets in a modern combat environment.
Really? That was what, the early 80s?
1983.
That's what I thought it was 81 or so, but I was a couple years off. So
no, but when we're talking about guns though and stopping power versus penetration, I'd like to compare it to the 9mm round versus a 308 snub. Like I was talking to my wife, she wants to carry a gun, and I was trying to talk to her about what she should carry. And I think it would be better with a 38. One, there's not much kick, but the stopping power is much greater than, let's say, a 9mm with going through and through. So,
well, that goes into actually exactly what I was talking about before, with the difference between powdered loads and all this kind of stuff. Because back in the 80s, there was this the Florida shootout where the FBI were pinned down by two blokes.
Yeah, remember that bank robbery in California where something similar happened?
Yeah.
The Hollywood shootout.
North Hollywood bank heist.
Them guys were stocked with 7.62 in armor and body armor, and the cops they had was 38 revolvers and like fucking 9mm. You know?
No, they had
9mm and 12-gauge shotguns.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the reason why the LAPD ended up having assault rifles in their cars for that exact reason. But going back to the FBI shootout, that was the argument where they'd said that 9mm wasn't powerful enough, so they were going to go to 40 cal. But the inherent size of a 40 cal was a bit difficult for females to carry, so they recently started looking at 9mm again, and with all the differences in like bullet technology and propellants and all this kind of stuff, they could actually make the argument that 9mm is just as good as 40 cal nowadays, depending on what exact round you actually choose.
I still stand by what I told my wife. A 38 snub will do much better stopping power in a self-defense type situation.
If you're up close to someone, you fucking shoot them, dude, they're going down.
No, not necessarily. A 9mm really does go through and through, man. Like you shoot me in the small of my side or something.
Are you suggesting or just this is hypothetical?
Here's a wacky idea for you. I'd actually state that 22 long rifle subsonic with a hollow point would be just as good as a 9mm or 32 because it's got just enough penetrating capability to do so much damage. It's got the expansion capability to cause enough damage, and it also will deplete all its energy and impart it into the body. And
So
if you use it with a silencer, no gun will hear you.
Round is going to bounce
like a
around.
22
You
with
don't
that
necessarily know what it's going to do, and it's not necessarily going to stop the person.
No, but what he's talking about is a higher powered 22. Does it have more?
No, 22 subsonic.
I mean, what makes it different than a normal 22?
Well, the normal 22 long rifle has a potential to use.
Oh, we're talking long rifles.
energy.
I thought you were talking about some kind of a pistol.
Yeah,
no. You can get long rifle pistols, but pistols that will shoot a long rifle cartridge.
So you're talking like a 22 250, something like that, right?
No. 22 long rifle, and you can run it from a Ruger. What's the fucking? There's one that they use in the movies all the time where it's always got a fucking silencer on the end of it, but it's a Ruger. It's a semi-automatic 8-shot.
Fuck, what is his name?
Yeah, it fires 22 long rifle.
Yeah, I think my ex actually has that rifle that you're talking about.
Well, it's a pistol.
It has, oh, well, she has a rifle and it has a short little fucking magazine that she has for it, but
yeah, no, yeah, go. Hang on, give me a quick sec. I'll have a quick look at what fucking thing it is.
What I was gonna say was, did you know you could fire 9mm shells through a 40 caliber, but not vice versa. You can't fire 40 caliber through 9mm. It'll fuck it up.
In all fairness, if you guys want stopping power for a pistol, why don't you just get a sawn-off shotgun? 12 gauge, stopping power.
Yeah, fucking let's old school, get a blunderbuss, man.
Well, no, first off, with the sawed-off, you have to be careful with how short it is, because you're even a centimeter too short, and you're going to prison. So that would be
sure bad. We're not supposed to cut the barrel at all in America. I'm pretty sure it's legal no matter what.
Nope, that's not true. That's not true. There is
really?
Yes.
Does it vary state or is it government federal?
It might vary state to state. There is a federal rule though, and yeah, as long as you don't cut it too short, you're good. Because home defense, you have short shotguns. I mean, you don't necessarily even have to saw them off. I mean, they sell them on the open market for home defense. So, yeah. What sucks though is my buddy gave me a whole fucking brick of 20 gauge rounds, and I don't have a 20 gauge shotgun. So I'm just holding on to a whole bunch of 20 gauge rounds, and I have no use for them.
Okay, I was sure it was a Luger or a Ruger, but the thing I can mostly find is what's called a fucking what's it called? A Browning Buckmark. It's chambered in 22 long rifle. I think it's got a 10-round magazine, and you fire subsonic 22 long rifle rounds out of it. And if you can put a silencer on the end, no bastard will ever hear you. And it's got the absolute controllability, zero recoil whatsoever. So you point it at the fucker's face, and you can put all 10 rounds in his head.
Nice.
All right. Bear with me 1 sec. I'm going to go take a piss and feed me cats. I'll be back in a minute.
Mad, I told you what to do with those shotgun rounds. Turn them into toe poppers, and you are never going to have an unwanted visitor ever again.
There you go. No, I mean, let's get back to some crazy shit. What's going on? Either that or wrap up soon, because I just finished. My beer finished a while ago, but I'm out of Mountain Dew now. So.
Oh, that's bad.
I know. I'm running on marijuana, so we'll see how that goes.
Like you act like it's a bad thing.
I know. I live in Oregon. It's legal, people. Don't judge me.
I'm sure I can get it just as easy as you. I just don't have a large selection to choose from.
Yeah, the selection is nice, and the fact that I got an 8th for a $10 front is pretty sweet too.
That's
just saying.
Nice.
No, considering I used to sell weed and an 8th was $50, and I got it on for $10, but also up front. Yeah, I enjoy weed being legal. Thank you very much. Like,
One day,
I enjoy it where I live and it's illegal. So what's the difference?
oh, because
okay,
the difference is
Illinois
your
is
10
not
sack
really-
is not my
not-
10 sack, dude.
Yeah, well, I guarantee that. But at least in Illinois it's decriminalized, so it's just like getting a seatbelt ticket now. That's much better than 30 days in the county.
Oh, speaking of that, remember my buddy I signed out of jail?
Yep.
He got arrested
Yeah,
again.
oh,
Let me
God.
guess, was it drugs?
No, he just got popped for his warrant. So,
Well,
but he's going down for the UUMV. And in Oregon, UUMV is unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. So, translation to the rest of the United States, Grand Theft Auto. So, what he was looking at before was 6 months. That's in county. That's
I
not in
was looking
prison.
like 5 years.
Yeah, it jumped exponentially. So, yeah. I got a new bike.
I would say I feel sorry for him, but I don't even a little bit.
Well, I helped him out, man, and I tried. I put myself on the line. He was here with my kids.
I'm the same kind of person, dude. I want to help people, but people like that are always just going to take advantage of you, dude. They'd never appreciate it, so you might as well stop helping them.
Well, loyalty is
I
either
know,
a fault or a virtue of mine. One or the other.
I'm loyal too, but I'm just saying it's gotten me walked on a lot, dude.
Yeah.
To take it back to the insanity we was talking earlier, Mad, you were suggesting bringing all these wonderful things through to help out with the Confederates during their little incident. Have you considered the simplicity of just bringing a Barrett 50 cal sniping rifle and putting a fucking great hole in the head of the president? Think about it.
You'd have to kill a cabinet too, probably.
No, and you do that in 1859. You don't even wait for him to be elected. You just fucking blow his head off. You Bobby Kennedy his ass. Not Bobby. Yeah, it was Bobby. It was Robert Kennedy.
You know how they treated strangers in places back in the day, right? Good luck blending in.
Yeah. So what? I blow his head off, and then I bounce back to my time machine, right? I mean,
but first you have to find him.
Well, you know where he is, don't you?
I mean, you said 59. You're implying that you just go back in time.
Lincoln Douglas debate. He's in the middle of the Lincoln Douglas debate, and his head gets blown off. Oops.
Why not just go to where he was born and shoot him in the head as he's coming out of between his mum's legs?
Yeah, there's a few people that shot you.
Okay, so if you had a time machine, would you kill Hitler? And if you were looking at baby Hitler, you're about ready to smother him with a pillow, though. But that's a baby.
No.
That's a little baby Hitler.
I wouldn't kill him.
Can you really smother him?
It would change history.
No, for the simple reason that with all the bad things that did happen in World War II, we got a hell of a lot of benefits out of it as well, like nuclear science, computers, satellites, rocketry, all that kind of shit.
Raised economy.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't kill poor little baby Hitler?
No, they would change the world too much.
World War II, we had to have it. We wouldn't be talking to each other if that wasn't the case.
Yeah,
What about World War III? Do we have to have that? And is that even a thing anymore? I mean, after the Koreas are calming down, I don't think that's a thing anymore.
I'd say it is. It's the Western world against the Muslim world.
Yeah. Okay, that's what it's going to boil down to.
We're already in it.
Okay, guys, I can't give you anything as a direct reference to check, but...
Well, shit, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I got to go, guys. I will talk to you later, though.
All right, later.
Right. Good night, guys.
Yeah.
It was nice meeting you, man.
You want to actually look at Africa as the next place that could well be a problem. That's some, because think about it, there's an awful fucking lot of them. Most of them psychotic at the best of bloody times. I'm telling you, Africa is somewhere that is being ignored by the world for its danger value. And yes, I do accept the fact that it's just a bunch of bloody warlords and whatnot, but it only takes one leader to change everything.
Yeah, but you see, Jensen, that's partly our fault too. I mean, we're the ones that put the borders in. We're the ones that put these tribes into a state, and we're the ones that force them to live with each other.
Oh no, you're completely right. As weird as it sounds, as much as I come across as quite colonial, I actually think we should have just left the bastards to kill each other off and then come in later and repopulate the entire area with the people we want there.
Yeah, same thing with the Middle East. We were the ones that drew the borders between Syria, Iraq, and Iran, and fucking Israel and Palestine and all that kind of shit. They, like most of those cunts, are so backwards inbred that they don't even realise that there's a border.
That's right. The problem
That's
is,
a good point. I never looked at it that way.
Yeah. Same thing in Afghanistan. The same thing there too. A lot of it's tribal. Like we put the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. They just walk across it thinking they're just going to the next town over.
It's true. Unfortunately, our colonialism was a nice idea, but we didn't go far enough. I know I'm now going to sound like a lunatic, but if you're going to go to war with somebody, do it properly, wipe them out, bring in your own people, take over the land.
Like the Aboriginals did with the Pygmies that were here before them. Oh, shit, can't say that. Oops.
No, you're right, mate. You're completely correct. I mean, it's going to sound weird me suggesting that I'm not a warmonger, because I'm thinking Mad Dodge is probably going to be pissing himself laughing at this. I'm not a warmonger, but what I am is a believer. If you're going to do it fucking properly. Don't dick around. Don't go in, blow them up a bit, and then rebuild them. No. You go in, you remove the enemy completely. Utter genocide. I know that that's not a good word, but then the enemy will not, under any circumstances, be able to come back and get you. Will you get new
because they're all dead.
But no, we can't use genocide nowadays. We've got to be politically correct about it. It's ethnic cleansing.
There you go. But no, I've said the same thing. Okay, so I believe in the non-aggression principle, but that doesn't mean I'm non-violent. That means you punch me in the nose, then I beat the fuck out of you, kick the shit out of you, and take your wallet and everything you have. Fuck you. You hit me first. It's on now. All bets are off.
I was having a fun discussion. I was having a fun discussion with this hippie Sheila this morning at the bottle shop when I was buying some booze, and she basically had the broad stroke argument of, oh, well, wouldn't you feel weird about going overseas and killing somebody else's poor little son or something like that? And I said, well, since I've been to Sierra Leone and I know what happened there, if I'd saw someone fucking chopping off some baby's arm just to influence the kid's father's vote, yeah, no worries. I'd shoot that fucker through the head. Not a problem. Wouldn't think about it. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, well, when you put it like that, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you made her fucking mouth drop. Holy shit.
Well, I've actually seen the repercussions of that. So, hey.
War is something that humans are actually really fucking good at.
Unfortunately.
I sound like a psycho, but to be honest, play to our strengths, guys. If you're going to go to war, do it. Take out the enemy. No more problem. I mean, like with the World War II, if we had actually gone in and cleansed Germany as it should have been done, we would not have half the shite we've got nowadays. In fact, we would have, and I'm not trying to say that it should have been part of the British Empire or any of that bollocks. I'm actually
Why not?
I'm actually doing the politically correct part here. Enjoy it. It doesn't happen often. Okay. Basically, we go in, we wipe out the originals, we put in the new ones, and then they become the Germany. They become their own country. I'm not trying to do it to take over the whole fucking world. I'm just trying to do it to stop people from coming over here and killing us.
Well, Jensen's right. I mean, you have a look at what fucking Angela Merkel was trying to do with the European Union. She was trying to have one government run in Germany. That included the United Kingdom, usurping the Queen's powers and everything. She wanted one economy run in Germany. She wanted one military run in Germany. This included the United Kingdom. This all just sounded like fucking World War II without fucking firing a shot in the Battle of Britain.
Well,
That's what I said. I said the same fucking thing. It sounds like Germany won through peace, what they couldn't win through war.
But the problem is with Angela fucking Merkel is she's too busy thinking with her fucking vagina, and instead of it having a master race of white Aryans, they've now got a fucking country full of fucking Muzzo refugees who are just fucking terrorists waiting for the word go.
Yep. I completely agree with you, mate. You're right there. As I like to put it, who won World War?
Whether Adolf either died outside of Germany or died in Venezuela, either way, he's rolling in his artificial grave, right?
Oh man, but like, yeah, that's another thing with Hitler too. I mean, like, had we let him go, you should have seen what Germania would have looked like. It looked fucking glorious on fucking on paper.
Yeah, well, remembering that Germany did not want to go to war with Britain by any fucking stretch of the imagination. They did their best not to originally.
They did their best by rolling through fucking Brussels. No, come on now.
No, well, they stopped at the French coast, and I can't remember exactly why Sea Lion went through, but yeah, that was the biggest fucking thing he did wrong, was having a two-front war. The same thing with Japan. Like, the Germany desperately didn't want the Yanks involved, but fucking the Japs went, no, we're going to bomb fucking Pearl Harbor and get the Yanks in on us, and basically Hitler just went,
how
shit.
stupid was that? How stupid was that? The United States wanted nothing to do with a European war.
Yep,
nothing.
they're isolationist.
That's right. And I am perfectly fine with that. I'm a libertarian. Fuck yeah. I don't want to fuck with them. You guys start fucking around right now. The EU breaks down and you guys start fucking blowing each other up. I don't want nothing to do with that bullshit. Fuck you. Have fun. Cabbage can lead the fucking Cabbage Army. I want nothing to do with it.
Like, yeah, give it 3 years and you'll come in late like you usually do.
God damn it. Sounds about
right. Fair enough. But no, it's, you know why? Because we don't want nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter to us. We have our own hemisphere.
Like, you see, you kind of don't really have much of a choice anymore because of ANZUS and CANUCUS and a couple of other different treaties that basically means if Britain and Australia go to war, you guys are coming with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you really got to kind of keep up the ANZUS part of the bargain, because we've been doing that for you guys since World War II. So hey.
Okay, well, agreed. Okay, well, first off, what would exactly happen if we didn't join whatever war? You guys would lose. You want the world's most powerful navy and army and air force. You want that.
See,
I mean, come on now.
The reason why you guys want the Australians to come with you is because we're fucking brilliant at tactics and all this kind of shit. Like, even the POMs used to use us as shock troops and stuff like that in places that they couldn't take. They'd send the Aussies in, and we'd usually end up taking it.
Operation Get Behind the Aussie?
Pretty much, yeah. But like, it's not sort of, not cannon fodder. It's like, go look a bunch of stuff up. Like the Battle of Long Tan, for example. We had one company go up against like fucking 3 regiments of Vietnamese, and we fucking won. But yeah, like fucking the only real way that America would join Australia if we ever got invaded would be if the enemy had taken Pine Gap, because that's technically American soil, not your embassies or anything like that. Pine Gap, that's a surveillance station that you've had since the Cold War. If that got taken over, then you guys would have to come in, because then that's a direct attack on you guys.
Well, no, I would think actually if you got invaded, and same with Great Britain, then the United States would go to action. But let's say you guys got a wild cunt hair, right? And you want Paris, okay? You want to take France and you want to move in. Fuck the EU. It's going to be, the fucking British fucking Empire, but better, 2.0, 3.0.
Yeah, then all England would have to do is send one of their beef eaters over there and just walk in the middle of France and say, right, this is fucking ours now, and then white flags would be popping up out of everywhere. A fucking beef eater with a staff, not even a fucking sword.
Okay, fair enough. But what I'm saying, though, is we wouldn't participate in an offensive type war. Now, if London was being bombed again, you wouldn't see the United States sit it out under a Donald Trump presidency. There's no chance in hell. No chance in the pits of hell.
Well, see, it'd be funny.
See, we've also got things in like territories that America has agreements with say, like they're called Eagle squadrons, and there's one in Richmond, which Richmond Air Force Base is basically a logistics base. We have all our Hercules aircraft there, and every now and then, there's a couple of Apache helicopters. We've had F-15s, F-16s, and stuff sitting there. And that's part of Eagle Squadron, and that's America's detachment out here. And there's a lot more in England. I'm not sure exactly how many are left over from the Cold War, but yeah, like they had to give up TSR-2 because the Yanks wanted to put F-111s in England. So there's that as well. So you'd probably find that if, say, Britain started getting bombed, the Eagle Squadrons, well, their version of it over in England would be pretty much on the front line straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying, an offensive war, the United States at this point, even under Donald Trump, would kind of step back. Let's say Brexit doesn't work out, and Great Britain says, "Fuck you, we're leaving, whether you like it or not." And the EU's like, "Well, we created the army," and or whatever. That's my best French accent. I'm sorry, that was fun.
The army, is surrender.
Yeah. Way better than me. You get it. You win. But you know what I mean? We created the army. And we're going on Napoleon. Fuck you. And Britain's like, okay, well, fuck off. And they march on France. They march on Paris. The United States is going to sit that one out. You know what I'm saying? We're not necessarily going to fucking throw our hat in the ring. But
go
ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, that was a funny thing back in the 80s because there was a Vietnam stigma, and America didn't want to get into a lot of things because of the whole don't want to send our boys 10,000 miles away to die in some foreign land. And up until the first Gulf War, that stigma was very prevalent, and it got forgotten because you went into Kuwait and you took that and you won that one, and everyone's like, oh, hey, we're not so shit after all. Let's go kill a bunch of cunts.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Okay, Farty, here's one for you. And Mad has already tried to answer this and unfortunately realised the problem. Can you tell me how many wars America has won without any help? No clues, Mad. Let's see if he knows.
Right. Well, there's the Mexican-American War, which I think you end up getting Texas over that. Can't count World War I and II because you guys came in late and we'd done most of the legwork.
Yep.
Korea is still going.
Yep.
No, you wouldn't have won. No, I want to go back to World War II. You wouldn't have won that without D-Day, and D-Day was an American operation.
Yeah, like where you're talking about cannon fodder before, like, yeah, I've mentioned this in another stream where you guys weren't seasoned vets and all this kind of stuff, and you probably would have had a lot less casualties had you got a bit of experience behind you. But yeah, Korea is still going, so that's all up in the air still. Vietnam, you technically lost.
No,
I say technically because you'd signed the agreement to pull your troops out, which meant the war was over for you. It was just as you were pulling your troops out, the North Vietnamese just started taking all the places that you'd left. And
that was a pick me up for France, by the way, also. So
Yeah, then okay, then through the mid late 70s and early 80s and most of the 90s was mostly peacekeeping operations through the UN, except for the first Gulf War, where it was still a coalition. Yep, still a coalition, but just one, taking back from the Iraqis, which really isn't much of a fucking mean feat. I mean, ISIS went and damn near wiped out the Iraqi army in a couple of weeks. And that was after you guys had trained them, and after we trained them too. So I can't really give you shit about that.
I was just saying, wait a minute.
Afghanistan is still up in the air. Iraq is still up in the air. Now you're bombing Assad, who's actually fighting the terrorists. So I don't know. Are you siding with the terrorists nowadays because you think they might win because they took so much of fucking Iraq so quickly? Or I don't know.
Well, what about the Kurds?
The Kurds, according to the rest of the world, and officially they're a terrorist organization, but they're in fact not. Considering that after the first Gulf War, you guys set up the Kurdish Autonomous Zone in northern Iraq so as they could have their own peaceful civilization and stuff. But now, for some reason, you're fucking bombing them because they're killing fucking moderate terrorists, which is ISIS-light.
God, I hate our fucking foreign policy.
Yeah, no, I don't get it. Like every country who's actually fighting terrorists, you guys have got the shits with lately. That's what happens though when you have a fucking Muslim president as a fucking president of the United States while you're in a war with fucking Muslims.
Yep.
Well, that wasn't the smartest move. I voted against Obama, by the way, but yeah.
Yeah, well,
Fair
thank fuck you didn't have Hilarious because she fucking loves Julia Gillard, and Julia Gillard was the worst prime minister we ever fucking had. She was never voted in. She was appointed twice, and we only replaced her with the bloke that she replaced just so as we could vote him in the fuck out too. We didn't even bother voting her out. We just fucking booted her.
Awesome. By the way, the answer to the question I asked you is America actually hasn't won a war on its own. At all.
Well, yes, we have.
Actually, what about the War of Independence?
Yeah, they were kind of and we helped them out. So did France. Blah blah. You know.
What do you mean? The British helped us win the war against the British? Fuck off, Quinn. You're not gonna fucking let that. I'm not gonna let that one work.
Oh no! We sold weapons to any bastard. We were very mercenary. So you know. At the end of the day, all right, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the War of Independence just so as you can actually have one on the score sheet.
What about the Mexican-American War, though?
Yeah, we whooped them fucking. We whooped the Beaners' asses. We were around Mexico City. Fucking. Yeah, we had that one.
I'm not disagreeing, but the point is, did they do it on their own?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Tell you what, you can have that one as well. So you've had 2 whole wars that you've won on your own. Sorry, dude.
Name one. No, name one that England's won on its own in the last 100 years.
Okay.
100 years. 2018 to 1918.
Are we
name one
going to do this based on years? I'm sorry, we have furniture older than your fucking country.
Oh, okay. Actually, no. That's
you
actually
have a couch older than me, much less my country.
See, hang on, Dodge. That's actually a really loaded question because when you're talking about England, you're also talking about the Commonwealth, and well, the Commonwealth and England are basically one and the same. So even in the Boer War, we sent Australians and New Zealanders off to that, and there were other parts of the Commonwealth that were involved in that. So we won that one.
Yep. Sorry, dude.
Fair enough.
This is not actually one that you can... I'll actually make it easier for you, Matt. You can't actually win this one. This was very loaded and technically was a bit unfair on my part. So therefore, I will apologise for trapping you with that. But...
Oh, no. Don't apologise. Don't do that.
Hey,
actually, no. The Falklands. The Falklands. We had nothing to fucking do with that. The Poms, that was all on them against the Argentines.
Yep.
That was in 1983.
There you go. So far, we've had more wins in less than 100 years than you've had. Period. Sorry.
And And that was actually like one of the fairest wars on the planet, because even though both sides were using the same rifles, they were basically using almost the same equipment. The Argentines had supersonic anti-ship fighter planes. The British had slow-moving shithouse fucking Harriers at the time because they were underpowered by their engines. The Argentines had battle cruisers that were ex-American, and the British were using American torpedoes in their submarines. So it's a pretty even match, except for when you talk about the fact that the artillery the Poms were using could fire 16 miles when the Argentine artillery could only fire 6.
Well, here's me being a prick. All right, I get to be a prick now. How many people did you send to Afghanistan? The UK itself, what was it? 20? Like 25? I mean, really. When was the last time you guys actually were equal in a coalition with the United States, the military power?
That's the benefit of being a coalition. You guys headed up, and we just send some token forces to back you up.
Yeah.
Token, as in like what, 15? Like,
well, if we started shit, we'd only expect a couple of platoons from you guys. But you know,
a couple of platoons would be like
we only need to send a couple of platoons. I'll actually quote Erwin Rommel.
You said like 10 people, like 10 guys are like, oh, we go over there. There's no kangaroos. All right, we're good.
No, I will quote Erwin Rommel. He was once asked by Hitler, "What do you need to win me this war?" And he said something along the lines of 2 panzer divisions and a regiment of Australian soldiers. And he got in a shit for saying that.
You just gotta fucking clear the way from all the koalas and fucking kangaroos.
Hey, like I said, we deal with fucking shit like drop bears, mate, and we don't even need guns out here. So, what do you think will happen when we do have guns?
I wouldn't want to go out in the outback. I'll be real, dude. I see a kangaroo hopping up into my fucking camp space, and I'm gonna shoot the fucker in the head. Like, fuck that.
Actually, that is the thing. Like back in the army, we actually used to have a Skippy watch or a picket. Like the Skippy the Bush Kangaroo was a TV show back in the late 70s. So we called it a Skippy watch, and the reason being is because like you know what a shelter individual looks like. It's just like a little tarp thing. It's got press studs on it. You can connect 2 of them together and make either a lean-to or just an A-frame tent or something like that. Yeah, well, they're open at each end. Now, what happens is if you're in an area where it's highly populated with kangaroos, when they're moving at night, because they're nocturnal mostly, they can actually jump inside your tent mid-bounce. So as they come in, they'll hit the roof, they'll jump down, they'll panic, and they'll shoot either left or right. They'll hit the sides, and then they'll fucking panic, do an about turn, hit the other side, and meanwhile they're jumping all over your guts. So what the Skippy watch does is while they're bouncing through the bush in the middle of the night, you fucking run out in front of them, go ah, and they fucking shit bricks and they fucking run in a different direction.
That's amazing. Like, I want that job. Does it pay like $10 an hour or something? Like, I'm down. No.
That's just basically. Amazing. That's just basic survival. And then there's other things like you don't have to worry about most of the wildlife too. In the summertime, you got to watch out for fucking bushfires because they can move up. They can move at fucking 60 kilometers an hour or even 100 kilometers an hour, depending on the wind fucking speeds. And yeah, you try and outrun that shit.
Yeah, damn. No, just the kangaroo thing, though. I can imagine camping, man. Like, fucking kangaroo comes bouncing through. Like, fuck that noise, man.
But like I keep trying to tell you, it's like the kangaroos are the least of your worries. You got to worry about the fucking drop bears. They're the bastards. They make noise when they're miles away, and you can hear them miles away, right? But when they're like really fucking close, the only time you'll ever hear them is when they jump on your shoulders and start biting you on the neck.
God damn.
They literally do the Rambo thing out of a fucking tree onto your neck, and they fucking start biting you. That's how they kill you.
Oh, dear God. Well, now that we've finished discussing all of the crazy insanities of the world, as the responsible adult again, I'm going to point out, Mad Dodge, you might want to have a look at what time it is for you.
Yeah, it's about 2:15. We can wrap it up, guys, if you want. No, this was a stream about nothing, and I think we had a great conversation about everything from kangaroos to Loch Ness Monster. a little bit about actual politics, which, you know, that always happens with my streams. But
well, here's one point about humanity, right? We're not the only things on the planet that will murder straight out for the fact of murdering. The Australian brown snake. If you find someone unconscious in the bush, you approach them cautiously for the simple reason that if they're bitten by a brown snake will not fuck off after it's bit you. It'll actually hide underneath the victim and fucking wait for you to die. They won't even eat you because you're too big for a start. But if you go up and you move the victim and you startle the brown snake, it'll bite you too, and you'll be dead within a few minutes.
and
And it just murders.
Too.
It murders for the fact of murdering.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
No, and it's like in America we have the American rattlesnake, but it's a rattlesnake. You can hear the fucker.
Yeah,
you know
that bites
I mean?
out of fear, but that bites out of fear, and it makes a noise so you can go away from it. The brown snake will hide. It'll ambush you.
Yeah, that's a fucker. And don't you have some crazy ass spiders and scorpions and shit over there too?
Oh yeah, there's the funnel web, there's the redback. The redback's got a neurotoxin, so that shuts down all your nervous system. So you just you end up dying from not breathing because you simply can't physically breathe anymore. The benefit of the venomous stuff is that we've got anti-venines and they're fucking good and they're fucking everywhere, and you're rarely ever too far away from a place that can get you an anti-venine. So that's the reason why horses kill more people than the most venomous snakes on the planet.
Yeah, that's good because you guys have some crazy ass motherfuckers over there. Mm-hmm. But no, it is late, Jensen. You're right. We're gonna go ahead and sign off. This has been a stream about nothing. Thank you very much for watching us talk about nothing. Good night and good luck.